right. This is the 73rd episode of the Runnin My Mouth podcast. I am your excited host, Aaron. Allow me to run my mouth. This is still very loud. I'm lowering this. Okay. That sounds somewhat better, but I also don't know. You guys won't know because I will have edited the audio for the pod. So you don't know what I'm going through with my recorder. Anyways, I am excited because at the last time that I talked to, was it the last time? No, that was 2 times ago. Interesting. What is time? Let me look at the calendar. Hold on. Wait, when did I record the last episode? Okay, it came out on the 3rd, but I recorded it before the 31st. So okay, I'm right. It was confusing me a little bit. So, in between last episode and this episode was my interview with the fellows of Burning Windsor. And like I said, last episode, I am going to delay gratification a little bit. But I still want to talk about it because it did go really well, in my opinion. I have actually finished, editing, like, the whole interview. However, I was given, and my desk is in disarray, you can't see it, but I was given, and this is only half of them, a stack of these mini DVDs that went into the camcorders of yesteryear. And also, by the way, I was going to post this on my stories, but I didn't. Out of curiosity, when I was ripping the first half of these, because I think only half of these are mostly relevant to what was talked about in the interview, but I will go back and rip the rest of them and put them on a flash drive for them. But I wanted to know, like, how much a pack of these, like, cost. So I was like, okay, I guess I could look up, like, an old Radio Shack catalog. And so I looked up, what did I look up exactly? I mean, it doesn't matter. Radio Shack. Hold on, Radio Shack. I looked up Radio Shack Catalog Archive, and what I found, as someone who is a big fan of old things, I found this whole website called RadioShackCatalogs.com. Very easy to find. And it is exactly what it says on the tin. It's, an archive of Radio Shack catalogs from 1939 up until 2011. Although there is a gap. I did see here 2006 to 09. Apparently, according to the website, they were only issued to stores, so those weren't, readily available. There may be some other gaps. I'm not really seeing them, actually. Oh, here we go. 1942 to 44, 46 to 48. Those catalogs don't exist, but I was able to find, so these would have been purchased around 2009 to 2010. Of course, the 09 catalogs are kind of missing, but I did find one from 2010. It doesn't have the prices in there, though. That's the only thing. But I was able to find sale catalogs, like listing, like, ooh, here's some sales from, I want to say, like, 2010. And so, just me idly wanting to know, like, how much would a pack of these would have cost back in the day, which honestly I probably could have asked somebody, but it was like late at night and I was like, I'm not about to text someone to ask them, like, hey, how much did mini DVDs cost in, like, 2009? But I didn't find these exact ones, which these would have been Sony Handycam DVD RWs. I found some of a different brand, but I think a pack of 20 of these were like $10 or something. And of course, this is like $2009, so probably would have been like 20 today, which would have made sense. Each of these, and they are more or less the same, they are 1.4 gigabytes. You can record 30 minutes on them. I think it depends on the, what do you call it? I'm literally looking at it, but it doesn't say the quality. It's like HQ, SP, LP. That changes how much you're able to actually record, obviously, because higher quality video takes up more space. So, yeah, I went through. Also, I was going to purchase one. I'm moving stuff around on my desk because my desk is in disarray. I was gonna buy one. Thankfully, I did not need to buy one because I got this. Shout out Estelle, who let me borrow this. I said it wasn't gonna take more than a week. Guess what? I will need another week. Not another week. They gave me 2 weeks to do it. So I need to rip these other CDs. Eventually. Honestly, I should probably do that tonight, if I'm being honest. I feel like, I don't know, man. Today I was just, I don't know what was going on. I went to bed at a normal time because I didn't go anywhere Saturday night. Nor was I really doing anything. I went to bed at like 10. Jesus Christ. What was that? Okay. Someone dropped something upstairs. That scared the crap out of me. Anyways, what was I saying? I don't even know what I was saying. I went to... Anyway, I went to bed at a normal time, but I ended up sleeping until like 10, and that like threw me off because I usually try to go grocery shopping before 10 because after 10 it just gets wild and wacky in the Wall market. And then of course I had to do my hair today, which takes time. So I feel like I'm behind by like a couple hours, but whatever. I guess I needed the sleep. Maybe I did need the sleep. I don't know. I feel like I slept for like 10 hours though, because I did not wake up until 10 o'clock. Anyway, I got so thrown off by that. I don't even... Anywho, I got a stack of these. I exported about half of them. I need to go back and export the other half, which is in this other stack here. And I also got something else that was really cool, but again, I'm delaying gratification, so you're not going to find out about it until I say so. Well, let me not hit the mic when I do that. But the interview itself, I don't want to open up Premiere while I'm recording. I don't know if that's going to slow things down, but it ended up being, first of all, I mean, we had the space. Shout out Cody Cox over at Urban Foxes. By the way, that's where I recorded it. We had the space from 12:30 until 4:30, and we were there the entire time. Like, that's how long it took. Most of that was obviously setting up time, because, you know, there were multiple camera angles and, you know, multiple mic situations and stuff like that. And also it was really hot. It was so hot. Not only was it hot, I was just sweating so much. I was so nervous. I mean, like I said in the last episode, I don't think I'd ever been more nervous for anything in my life. And I was just sweating so bad. And you can see it in, like, the first part of the video, because, like, it really was Sweat City. Like, it was just... Not only was it just hot, I was just pouring sweat. I'm just sweaty. What can I say? But the actual edited down interview segment, which I'm gonna insert some stuff in there too, like the extra footage that I got from the DVDs, that ended up being an hour and 14 minutes. And then I have 2 different scripted segments that I still need to shoot. One of them not that complicated, so I don't know why it's taking me so long, but the other one will require me going out to Port Gibson, and it's been raining like all last week. It's gonna be raining, well, no, not last week. It's gonna be raining all this week. And it's also just gonna be really hot, so I don't know when I'll actually be able to go out there and do that. Let me see. Oh yeah. It's raining literally all week. I mean, by the time you see this on Wednesday, it will have been raining for about half the week. But it'll be raining all week. So it might take a little bit for that to happen. But once that happens, that'll be like the last thing that I will have had to do for it. And hopefully it'll be out. You know, it's been, again, I mean... I can save all of this for a post-mortem on it all, but this really has been like 3 years in the making, and it's kind of crazy that it's all coming together now. And like I said, I'm very excited about it. Also, going through some of these has been really interesting, just kind of, and it's so much footage too. Like I think this is just some of it. I think they do have more. But it's a little blast from the past, and then some of the footage from after the tornado, that's probably the most interesting part. Part of me was thinking like maybe I should, I don't know, take some of the stuff that's in here, 'cause some of it again is pretty interesting. Honestly, it's mostly just the tornado stuff, but because I'm not going to be able to put all of it in the video, obviously that would make it 11 hours long. But it would be really interesting to just like, do something with it. Either way, I am really excited. Like I said, I know I don't sound like it. I think it's just because I've been very low energy today, as evidenced by me sleeping from 10 p.m. yesterday to 10 a.m. today. It's one of them days. But either way, aside from all that, I am still really excited about it. But I have other things to talk about. I have a whole list. There's been a lot going on. I feel like this past week, there was just like so many show announcements, which of course we're going to get to. But also just like other stuff going on. I haven't really been going to that many shows, but I will, I guess, kind of try to talk about this in chronological order. But yeah, I think I want to start out with some new non-local music that I have found that I have greatly enjoyed. One of these I did post about on my Instagram stories, which, by the way, if you're not following me on Instagram at Jackson Underground, you're only getting half the story. I feel like I'm whispering. I think I turned the input level down too much. Okay, I feel that might be a little bit better now. All right. So I am these days, which I've talked about it so much. Do I need to talk about it some more? I will talk about it some more. I've been very skeptical of Spotify's recommendations for me to the point where I don't take them very seriously. But, I feel like these days if I see a band or an album or something recommended to me, I have to do like 10 minutes of background research just to make sure it's like real, because I'm not about to be sucked into the AI music. You're not about to get me, all right? And so I am about to mispronounce the crap out of this, but I'm gonna give it the old college try. It was put into my release radar like a couple weeks ago, which doesn't make sense because this came out, when this came out? May 8th. So like at that point, a full month ago, so it wasn't even really that new, but either way, it was put in there, which again, probably a little bit of payola going on in the I've talked about this before, I don't feel like talking about it again. Either way, the album Diamond Morning by the Swedish band, and I'm about to butcher it, but I'm giving it the old college try, Karmanjakah, Karmanjakah, was recommended to me, and I looked it up. This is a real band with real people and real music. They've been around for not a super long amount of time, but their first release here, about 10 years. So about 10 years. And, I saw they had I didn't actually look into the tour dates, though, so that's interesting. And also, sometimes these bios on Spotify, they just mean nothing. They say nothing, and they mean nothing. I am gleaning no information from the About section on Spotify for anyone. But either way, I did do the background research. Also, they are not currently on tour, but they will be on tour soon. In like September, with Humanity's Last Breath, Wildhjärta, which of course, are they my goats? I don't know. That's brewing. We'll see. I'll give them some time to figure out whether or not they're my goats. Enterprise Earth, and yeah. So that's later this year. Those are of course all real bands, and also these are all in Europe. That's in the Czech Republic. That's in the UK. All the rest of these are in the UK. That's Sweden? Denmark. That's Denmark. Never mind. Yeah, so it's in the EU, so I wouldn't be able to see it even if I wanted to, because I have a passport, but I got that passport when I was 12, and it is most certainly expired. Should I get a new passport? Probably. Will I? I don't know. It costs like $200, so, that's not very high on my list of priorities presently, but, I mean, it wouldn't hurt to have one, to be completely honest. It would hurt even less to have dual citizenship in a different country, but, anyways, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the album Diamond Morning by Karmanjakah, which, by the way, I've been listening to nonstop for the last 2 weeks, it feels like. Like, I've been listening to this so much, and it's just so good. Some of the songs remind me of that one Glass Cloud album, which I not could cloud CLOUD. You're giving me the songs but not the albums. Why aren't you giving? Okay, just look it up. Jesus. Album The Royal 1000, which came out in 2012. That is what some of the songs remind me of, but it's really proggy. It's not super heavy. It's actually more, I would say, kind of atmospheric. But it is really good. I saw, and I mean, this was just in like my background research, people were talking about maybe they have more Thal leaning stuff in their older work, because I did listen to their other full length, just called A Book About Itself, which does sound really similar, not, super heavy, but still proggy. And I think it's great, and I love it, and I've been listening to it so much. And if I would have to pick a favorite track, I can't. Sorry. I don't even know why you asked. So, yeah, I've been listening to that, and then I made another discovery, and this is insane because this literally came out at the beginning of the year, and I just didn't hear about it. Why? I don't know, because this was, please don't fall. I can't remember how many podcast episodes ago that I talked about a hypothetical third Invent Anime album with Ben English, only for me to find this, which is not an album, it's not even an EP, it's literally just 2 songs, Dogma Dance and Fire Cleanse by the Two-Man Project, and I can't get over the way this is spelled, because it's spelled so weirdly, but it's PEUR, but it's PEUR, all caps, PEUR. it's name aside, first of all, it is not only Ben English, but I forgot the other man's name. He is currently of Invent Anime. Hold on. PURI. Keaton Goldwire, who is currently in Invent Animate. So, honestly, I mean, it is just the 2 of them, but these 2 songs, they are like that hypothetical third Invent Anime album, because you listen to Everchange, you listen to Still World, you listen to these 2. I feel like this is what, it would sound like if it took them, 10 years. Still World came out in 2016. Did it? Yes. Hold on. I'm double checking. If I can just find it. If I can just know my alphabets. Where is it? Here it is. Yes, 2016. So, dang, it's been 10 years. Interesting. July 11th. Not quite 10 years. Almost 10 years. But, I feel like, if it did take them 10 years to make a follow-up to Still World, like, yeah, this is what it would sound like. And it's just, in my opinion, which people may feel differently about, for me, personally, I feel like there are a lot of vocalists in the metal and hardcore space that kind of sound the same, especially if they're doing unclean vocals. Like if you put them in a lineup, like unless I just knew the song and I knew the band that it came from, a lot of them I would not be able to differentiate. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, you know? I can't say that I can say that about guitarists or drummers, really. Well, no, I can't. But either way, clean singers, it is pretty easy to differentiate, but for whatever reason, unclean singers or unclean vocalists, they kind of bleed together. Ben English, on the other hand, in listening to these two songs, I have realized that his voice is kind of doing a lot of heavy lifting on some of Event Animate's old stuff. Like, yeah, like that is really the missing link, I feel like, on their new stuff. And I think Marcus Vick is fine. I've seen him live. I do remember when they were first doing shows and they first popped out with him during the Greyview era. It was a little rough. I don't know what was going on there. He's gotten a lot better since then, though. But either way, I don't know. It's like, yeah, this is what could have been. This is the Forest on Fire, if you'll remember from the episode from a bajillion years ago where I hypothesized that third Invent Animate album. You know, you have the first one, it's The Forest at Night. The second one, it's A Snowy Forest. The third one is The Forest on Fire. This is The Forest on Fire. Fire Cleanse and Dogma Dance by PEUR is the Forest Fire Invent Animate era that could have been. So I think they're great. I will say Fire Cleanse came out in September 2025, and then Dogma Dance came out January of this year. So going by that, the next song is probably going to come out in August or maybe September. I don't know if there is another song coming out. But it's a real shame that it's just these two. I would love a full album. I really would. And the interesting thing about it is that I feel like I should have seen this coming. I don't know. I don't really follow bands as closely as perhaps I should. But Ben English was teasing a return, I want to say last year. So I guess this is that. For whatever reason, I thought it was going to be Everchanger 10th anniversary tour, which didn't end up happening, by the way. I don't know why I thought that would be it. But no, it was just this. It was these two songs, and they are so great. If you are a fan of Invent Animate's old stuff, of Everchanger, of Still World, you will absolutely like this. And they did an AMA on the metalcore subreddit, which is another reason why how did I not see this, you know? And they said that Fire Cleanse was maybe not directly, but I can hear it a little bit myself, inspired by the music of Mirar, which is a mostly, not entirely, but mostly instrumental thal band from France. And they actually just put something out recently, and I listened to it, and I was like, okay. I mean, I liked it, but yeah. And for whatever reason, they have two albums that are just two different paintings of Judith and Holofernes from La Bible. One is the Caravaggio painting. This one is a different one. I forgot the painter, but I don't know. Maybe they'll put out another album next year, and it'll just be another Judith and Holofernes. I'm definitely saying that wrong, but you know what I mean. The lady from the Bible who cuts the man's head off and who has been painted apparently quite a bit. I'm not mad at it though. I do quite like those paintings. They're kind of great. Anywho, yeah, you can hear the Mirar inspiration in there. It's not super heavy though. It's not like, you know, like, oh, is this a Mirar song? Like, no, it feels like Invent Animate with like a sprinkling of Mirar in there. So if you're into like, again, proggy stuff, which I think Mirar extends past prog. I mean, it is kind of fully, you know, the more thal It's like gent cubed. I really don't know what else to describe it as. It's literally gent cubed. Like, that is the best way that I can describe it. Yeah, sure. So that was that. That was some of the where's my pen? Here it is. Some of the new to me music that I've been listening to. Yeah, there's that. That's also that. Okie dokie. So last Sunday, I was actually doing a little. I did a thing, which is very millennial of me. There was the Zine Fest that was put on by my good Judy Lucy at Urban Foxes, and that was on the 7th of June, and I volunteered, and it's on the ground. It's the shirt that I got. Honestly, it went really well. It was threatening to rain the entire time, and it did end up raining, but it was only like the last, I don't know. It was when it was pretty much over anyway, so it ended up being fine, but we got a decent amount of people coming out. We had, again, shout out Cody Cox at Urban Foxes, #1 for having the fest there, but also doing some DJing. Honestly, the stuff he was playing was kind of great. I liked it. I was vibing the whole time. So a decent amount of people, I will say, came out, came from far and wide. One of the people tabling was from Baton Rouge. One of the volunteers was from Little Rock, drove there from Little Rock, and then drove back, which, as someone who has driven to Little Rock, well, I've been driven to Little Rock. It's a hard road. It's a hard route. I'm not gonna lie. So, shout out to them who did that, and I got some goodies. Now, I will say I was a little bit in between paychecks when Zine Fest was happening, but there was a surprising amount of free stuff, so I will go through it. Now, I will admit, I've had a week, although the week that I've had was not as weak as the weeks that I've had in the past weeks, but I haven't had the chance to read these. But these were all just like free, which is so great. We have here, oh god, this is blue out. I wonder if I do this, is it gonna, hold on. No, you cannot see it. It's Most People Are Not A-Holes by screamingintothefuture.com. I got Use Your Voice. Hold on, here you go. Again, it's gonna be blued out. I'm sorry. Use Your Voice, a zine by Justin Ransberg. And then again, you can actually see this one a lot better. I Survived Glory Hole Falls, a photo essay from Lilypad Press. And then we have the Hattiesburg Alternative Zine from Hattiesburg, Music, Arts, Poetry, and Literature, Spring 2026, which I'm trying to see. I'm like 90% sure. Okay, I know I do. I think I follow them on Instagram. Hold on. I think it's hattiesburg.alt on Instagram that puts these out. I'm fairly certain. I'm gonna look it up. Hattiesburg.alt. Yes, that is it. That is them. Okay. So I'll be really interested to see what's in here, because sometimes they do have some pretty good interviews. Except I don't think there's any interviews in here. Music, art, poetry, and literature. Yeah, I'll go through these a little bit later. And then our movement needs more archivists, an interview with Dartricia Rollins, a zine from the Solidarity History Initiative from Screaming Into the Future, which I'm not entirely sure where they're located. Let me see. Is it in the front? The zine is based on conversation between Sophie Ziegler and Dartricia Rollins, recorded July 18th, 2023. The full conversation is available on What is Solidarity History podcast by the Solidarity History Initiative. Okay. And that was all the free stuff I got, but I paid for, hold on, this is gonna be quite large. Hold on. Wait, where's the top? Where's the top? Where's the top? Hello? Oh, here it is. Goodness gracious. Okay, it's a shirt. It says, hold on. It says, you can't, okay, hold on. Here, can you see? I can't even tell if you can, oh, here we go. There. It says, I read zines. And first of all, this is a really nice quality shirt. It's comfort colors. It's really soft. It's not, not as soft and buttery. Gosh darn it. Okay, I'm legit kind of mad about this. I just took this out of my laundry basket. I was not doing my hair, but I was moisturizing my hair yesterday after I got out of the shower, and I spilt a big old drop of hair oil on it. And you can't really, no, you can tell. Never mind, you can tell. Hold on, where is it? There it is. Yeah, spilt it right on the shoulder. And I put some Dawn on it before I washed it, the power wash. And it kind of worked, but it also kind of didn't. So there's just a big stain on it. But thankfully, again, this is a 3X. So this is just my house shirt for when I am Winnie the Poohing it around my house. Oh my gosh, why are you sideways? Jesus. For when I'm Winnie the Poohing it around my house, which is a big shirt, no pants on, which I frequently do. It's either big shirt, no pants, or pants and no shirt. So, never both. Never big shirt and pants. That's only if I'm, going outside to, take my trash out or something. But any other time, big shirt, no pants. No pants. What? Big shirt, no pants. Pants, no shirt. Especially now that it's getting hotter. It's far too hot to wear shirt and pants. I will, in the deep depths of winter, I will big shirt and pants and socks, which it's never socks around here. I am always, you guys don't need to know this, but I'm talking about it anyways. I am always shoeless and sockless unless it is just really, really cold. And it's only really, really cold maybe 1.5 to 2 weeks out of the year here in the SIP. So thankfully I don't have to wear socks because it's a slip and fall hazard. That's the reason I don't wear socks in the house, because I'm afraid of slipping and falling. And now, where I am now has carpet, but it's still a slip and fall hazard. So I don't need to be breaking hips up in here, I live alone and I don't have what do you call it? A life alert. Which, by the way, I was talking to my mom yesterday, and she also lives alone for most of the time. And she told me she started going to the Y again. I was like, well, are you doing your strength training? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, we can't have you breaking a hip because you get over a certain age and your body stops making estrogen and your bones get brittle. And if you break a hip, you're toast. Which is true, by the way. My mom's not that old. She is, I don't think she'll object to me saying that she is postmenopausal. So she is at the point where, her body's not producing estrogen anymore. So yeah, your bones get brittle after that. But no, she's been doing her strength training to her credit, and also taking vitamins. I don't know if that includes calcium. If it's I guess if it's those vitamins for women of a certain age, I think it includes calcium, but I'm not gonna, I can't have my mom, which again, my mom is not slipping and falling age. My mom isn't even 60 yet. She's, 58? Yeah, she's not even, my mom is not even remotely slip and fall age. My grandma's slip and fall age. Honestly, I should probably be more worried about her slipping and falling, because my grandma is 83? Yeah. So she's the one I need to be worried about, not my mom. But something else that I got, how did I even get onto that topic? Who knows? Something else that I got from Zine Fest, there was a girl going around drawing people, and oh my god, it's all blued out. I can't see it. Oh, that's a darn shame, because this is I got a really cute drawing of myself, and the exposure is just too high. You literally can't see it. That's a darn shame. Oh, that is such a shame, because it was really cute. And the girl told me her name because she drew all of us at the what do you call it, the volunteer table. But I, being terrible with names, have forgotten her name. So, but shout out to her, because that was great. Apparently, we got her out of her art block. And as someone who used to be a young artiste who sometimes found myself in art block, I know how it feels. So, yeah, slay. And I shall mark this off the list. So, I didn't go to that many shows. There were quite a few that happened in the last couple of weeks. But I went to one. I was going to go to one on the 6th, but again, I was volunteering at the Zine Fest, and I was just like, I don't know, I was doing like so many things that Saturday that I just felt like I couldn't, and I wanted to wake up at a normal time, and I think I ended up going to bed late anyways. I think I ended up going to bed at like 11 or something like that. For what reason? I don't even know. I can't even remember why I went to bed that late, but either way, I didn't end up going to one of the 4 shows that was happening on the 6th, which, again, not super happy about it, but, you know, sometimes things, they happen. They happen, and you can't do anything about that. But the show that I did go to was on the 12th at CS's, and I was specifically requested to go there for my photographic prowess, because I am an in-demand photographer. That is true. It is true, I'm an in-demand photographer. I can't take myself seriously sometimes. But anyways, I was asked to shoot Miscommunication's first public show. They had done a show before this, but first show at CS's. And honestly, they were really good. They didn't have their bassist. She had to work, I think. But either way, they were so good. And I just know, like, if they did have their bassist, then they would have been just like, yeah. So that was their first show. And honestly, I had been asking about this band for like a year or more than a year and a half, something like that. Because every time I would see Hodges, who is the drummer at CS's, I'd be like, hey, how's the band coming along? And he'd tell me like, yeah, we're practicing. We're getting stuff together. And now it's come together. And they told me they will be at another show, which I don't think has been fully announced yet. But they will be at another show very soon. And you all will be able to see them there if you did not see them at CS's. But they're also, I would say the CS show was decently attended, but there was like 2 other shows going on. One of them I didn't even have on my calendar because I just forgot about it until the day of. Oopsie poopsie. But there was Inside the Hollow, Our House, H-O-U-R, Hour, like the time, house, Weeping Hour, Charcoal, and Gnarl. That was going on at Hal and Mal's. But I was at this show. And so after Miscommunication, who again, really good, I'm trying to remember who was after them. Oh, it was, so Snake Meadow Hill was supposed to be there, but it was Eyes Like Yours instead, which Eyes Like Yours has been around for quite some time, but this was like my first time seeing them live, and they were like really good. I don't know what took me so long to actually see them. I truly don't. I don't know what took so long, but oh my god, this fly. I swear to God, every time I sat down to record an episode in the last month, there's been a fly. Do I have a fly problem? We're not going to dwell on that. Anyways, yeah, As Like Yours filled in for Snake Meadow Hill, who had to drop. They were like really good. I'm like, what the heck took me so freaking long to see them? Like, oh my god, what the heck? What to heck? You know? And then after them was Milky White from Tupelo. And I have not seen Milky White before. Have I seen them before? I know I've seen one of their members is in a different band from Tupelo, in Circle Throne. I've seen them before. I don't think I've seen MILKYWHITE. Yeah. I've not seen them before, but they have been in Jackson, at least in my recollection, on this year calendar, 2 different times. Once on February 20th of this year, and another time on May 10th of last year. So this is my first time seeing them, and they're also really good. They did a cover of Dance Dance by Fall Out Boy, and I was like, honestly, it's really interesting. You don't see that many covers, or I don't see that many covers, or maybe people are doing covers, but I don't know the songs that they're covering. So I'm like, oh man, this is a great song, and the whole time it's cover. That could be happening, but I feel like you don't really see that many covers, which I'm gonna say is a good thing. The people, they're making original music, and I will never be mad at that. Never, not once. So, they did a cover of Dance Dance, and I'm like, that song went quadruple platinum in my house when I was a youngin'. So, yeah, that was great. And then after them was Cookie Woo, which I have seen maybe once, maybe twice, at least one time before. Their drummer was also the drummer of the former Face Rot. Great drummer, by the way, really versatile. I've said this at least once before, but they are, again, really great. They were great the first time I saw them. They were great here too. And it was honestly such a fun show. It did end a little late. I think I ended up getting home, the show ended at like 10:30, but I ended up getting in bed at 11 because I was contemplating, on Fridays, before I wash my hair, I usually take it down the day before. And I was like, ooh, I'll take my hair down after the show. I got home, it was 10:30. I took my makeup off, and I was like, that's not happening. I'll catch you in the morning. And that is certainly what I did. I caught myself in the morning. So yeah, but that show was a lot of fun. But like I said, I'm an in-demand photographer. If you want me to shoot your show, now I did do this for them, for, as a favor. But if you would like me to shoot your show, or do a photo shoot, or do a music video, I am available for those services. Email me at this web zone. I guess, I don't know, jacksonunderground601@gmail.com. That works. Or you can DM me on Instagram, and I will send you my informations, and I will get that to you. You know what's funny, though? I was thinking about this. I forgot about it, and then I remembered it again. So I was sitting down with Dee, who is the vocalist for Miscommunication, and I was showing them my pictures that I took of their set, and this person comes up, and it was the dad of, oh my god, what's his name? I was Reese, the drummer of Cookie Woo / formerly Face Rot. And, his dad was asking me like, oh, are you like a photographer? And I said, oh no, or like a professional or something, or with the media or something like that. And I was like, no, I just do this for fun. And I was kind of going through the pictures again, and he was like, and she also has a podcast. And it's like, I do also have a podcast. All that to say, I feel like other people are talking about my podcast, like, out in, like, public more than I am, which I find really interesting, but also kind of cool. People other than me like this podcast that I've been doing for, like, 3 years, which is great. Yeah, shout out my podcast. Yeah, honestly, I do think it's really cool that people are excited to tell other people about this thing that I should be excited to tell people about. But also, if I may just, like, level with the people, I do have to say, and I only feel about this myself, but also I don't really know anybody else with a podcast. I kind of feel like telling people in this day and age, in the big 2-6, telling people you have a podcast is low-key kind of corny. I'm not gonna lie. Other people saying it is great. Other people shouting my stuff out, love it, 100%. But me just rocking up to someone being like, hey, I have a podcast. Like, no, I don't know, man. I feel like maybe I should be a little more excited about the things that I make, but just telling people that I have a podcast, it feels corny. I mean, it's factually correct. I do have a podcast. I'm doing it right now. But I don't know, just something about telling people about it. It's like, you know, I don't know. There's some psychology around it, probably. Who knows? I don't. And we're gonna move past it. We're just gonna move right on past it. But that was the last show that I went to, and I can tell you about the upcoming shows that are coming up. However, I wouldn't be able to enjoy that show or any of these shows coming up were it not for my eargasm earplugs. Wow, you have until August. You have until August 7th. August 7th. That is less than 2 months, actually. You don't have that much time to use my code JX10 to get 10% off on eargasm.com. Now, once August 7th comes, will I try to renew my code? Will it auto renew? I don't really know. All I know is that it does expire August 7th. So you don't have a whole lot of time. If you want to get, which, I mean, it is kind of lame that they only give you 10% off because they regularly have a 20% off discount on the site. Like, I'm gonna go right now. There's probably some kind of Father's Day sale going on right now. Nope. There is no Father's Day sale going on. That's interesting. They have the Essentials bundle going for $47. Hold on. Let me, have they gone down on the price? They have. Oh, this just in. Hold on. This is great news, actually. This just in. Eargasm earplugs. Wait, hold on. Actually, have they gone down? Or am I tweaking? They're $47.95 now. Wait, I think they have not gone down. Wait, hold on. No, they haven't gone down. I am tweaking. I thought they did. Okay. Well, they've certainly gone up since I bought my pair, which I got these for like $38. They've gone up almost 10. But I also got these like 4 years ago. And, you know, a lot economically has happened in the last 4 years. So, like I said, like I have been saying, these are a investment piece. So invest in your ears. Invest in protecting your ears. Get yourself some eargasm earplugs. And use my code JX10 to get 10% off. Because as I'm looking right now, there's no code. They don't have a 20% sale going on. So you get 10. You get a 10% sale. And, yeah, you can get them in various colorways. They got the Warped Tour ones, which are checkered. And they got a red case. And as far as I know, they are not that different. They're just a fun color with a fun case. They got them in black. They got some in, let me see, hyper violet. Those are kind of cute. Because the regular ones, they're just purple. But it's got a little purple case. Whoa. And they have one for smaller ears too. So you got little tiny baby ears. Yeah, they got some glow-in-the-dark ones. Whoa. They have kids' earmuffs. They do not have adult earmuffs, I don't think. So if you're an earmuff person, I have bad news, and you're an adult. They do not have them. They have clicks. What the heck are clicks? What are these? They're what are these actually? Protect your hearing and style. Clicks contain an embedded high fidelity filter. I guess you can change out the face plates. Okay. They're more decorative, I guess. They have aviation earplugs, reduce ear pain during travel. They have squishies, not quite okay. You just mush them in your ear. That's what that is. They have foam earplugs. They have gift bags for some reason. They have aqua plugs. If you're swimming, you want to get water in your ears? Actually, oh, those are like $63. Either way, with any of these products, you can use my code JXTEN to get 10% off at eargasm.com. Okay, and let me see. We're about to look. Is it time for me to stop begging? No, it's not time for me to stop begging. The begging continues. I need 3 more responses. I did get 1 more. I need 3 more. Literally just 3. 1, 2, and 3. Get your friends together. Get your good Judies together. Girl, I'm bored. Let's fill out this form. Do that with your bros, with your familia. What are you looking for in life? What is it that you would like to find? Do you just want someone to talk to? Do you just want someone to listen to you talk? Do you want someone where you don't have to talk at all? You can just enjoy each other's company. That's a thing. Do you want, it just comes to mind every single time. I probably should stop saying this. An unlicensed and paid therapist? Maybe. Do you want someone to share recipes with? I haven't said that one. Do you want someone to share recipes with? Do you want someone to teach you how to cook? I did get 1 person in here. I do read through all of these when they come in. But do you want to do a language exchange? Do you want to learn a language from a person, or perhaps teach a person a language? These are all the possibilities that you can get with my zine seeking. There's been a QR code up the entire time. Scan it. Scan the QR code and submit to my form seeking. You might find what you're looking for. You never know. The only thing is that I ask you be over 18. That's it. That's the only requirement. Be over 18. That's it. That's how you get in. All right. And now I am inordinately thirsty today. Okay. Now we can talk about the shows that are coming up, which will lead me into my next topic. So this will be coming out on the 17th, but also on the 17th. So this evening, if you are listening to this when it comes out, we have Zoe Dominguez kicking an I Jam at Urban Foxes at 7 o'clock. And then on the 19th, we have Gunboat and Fibs at Howlin' Mal's at 7. And then on the 20th, we have Surf Wax, Newscast, and Toss Up, which I think Toss Up is a new band. By the way, there's been so many new bands popping up, it's kind of hard to keep up. But I think Toss Up is new. I think. Okay. And then on the 22nd, we got Flags, Hartle Road, Rosehaven, Motor Hotel. That's 3 of them. That's the 3. At the End of All Music, that's Monday the 22nd at 7 p.m. And then on the 27th, we have Eyes Like Yours, Goodnight Morning, and Camacho. Am I missing something? I feel like there is a 4th one on here that perhaps I forgot about. Hold on. Hold up. Well, first let's see if I can freaking find it. No. I can't find it. I'm not gonna look too hard. Where's this at? Urban Foxes? Okay, well, either way, at the very least, these 3 bands will be there. Eyes Like Yours, Goodnight Morning, and Camacho at Urban Foxes at 6 o'clock. That's 6 p.m. on Saturday, June the 27th. And then we got 2 shows on the 28th. Okay, no, this is the one that I was thinking of. We got Cordo, Elevator Pitch, Mostly Satire, Snake Meadow Hill, and Hush Puppy. At Urban Foxes, that's the 28th. And then we have Parrot Weather, Souffle, and DJ Jane Blank. Souffle is interesting because I believe this is a musical act that uses puppets. Yep. That is it. It is a musical act that, okay, maybe not puppets. Where did I get puppets from? Did I lie? Did I tell a fib? Did I say things that were untrue? Did I tell an untruth? I don't know. There's a lot of cardboard involved though, and these are reals. I'm muting this because my speakers are connected. Either way, it'll be a very unique viewing experience. So if you're into unique viewing experiences or listening experiences, which both Parrot Weather and DJ Jane Blank are, that's going to be at the End of All Music at 6:30. Interesting, 6:30. And then on the 3rd, that's a Friday, we got Zashed, we got Skinny Brag, and we got Wretched. What was I about to say? I was about to say Wrecked. It's not Wrecked, it's Wretched. At the Unitarian Universalist Church of Jackson, which for whatever reason was not letting me pick the freaking actual address in the drop down, so I just had to put it in. There we go. Hold on. Now it's letting me put in the address. I don't know why it does that sometimes. But yeah, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Jackson, which is on Northwest Street. It's at 6 p.m. on Friday. Go to church on Friday. Where am I? And then July 5th, we got Midnight Papers and Eyes Like Yours at Urban Foxes. Oh, my nose is so itchy. Sunday the 5th. Sunday, July 5th at 6 o'clock. And then on the 6th, we have Bad Trip, Blighted, Hush Puppy, and Victory Dog at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Jackson on a Monday, the 6th. That's at 6. Did I say? I don't think I said it's at 6. It's at 6. And then the next day, we got Frontal Assault, Yotuma, Ants on Acid, and Plague Burner. That's at CS's. That's on a Tuesday. That is at 6 o'clock. And then that next word, the next week, not word. Safe word, that's the word. Gabraxas Compendium, Jillilope, and Elohim at Urban Foxes at 6 o'clock. Friday, July the 17th at 6 p.m. And then on the 19th, that's a Sunday, we have Zombie, Rosehaven Motor Hotel at Snake Meadow Hill. That's on the 19th. It's at Hell and Mouse. It's at 7 o'clock. And then in August, we have 2. On the 2nd, we have Gravehuffer, Plague Burner, and... Oh, wait. You know what? There's been a couple more that I need to add to my calendar. Whoopsie poopsie. I just thought about that, but I'll get to them when I get to them. Gravehuffer, Plague Burner, and Die with Nature at CS's on a Sunday at 8 p.m. And then on the 22nd, now the 27th, we have Color Revolt and Smokies at Dueling Hall, which, by the way, is already sold out. It sold out pretty quickly, so if you're trying to find a ticket, I have terrible news for you. Unless someone is selling theirs, you're not going to be able to get one, because it's sold out. And then, God, actually, hold on, there's one more. Okay, yeah, there's actually one more. October 20th, we have Dent May, Sad Bath and Newscast at Hal and Mal's on the 20th of October. I don't have a time yet for that one. But if we go back a month, we have, honestly, something really cool, in my opinion. We have the Callous Daoboys, Kaonashi, Girl of Glass, and Weilded Steel at Halamel's, Tuesday, September 22nd. I'm honestly really looking forward to that one. That's a Tuesday. Kind of crazy for Tuesday night. But yeah, the Callous Daoboys, which, by the way, it took me so very long to figure out that that's a spoonerism of the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know why it took me so long, but it is. And if you didn't know that, now you do. Congratulations. I will say, I tried to get into the Callous Daoboys because when I first started listening to I Know How You Will Die by Snooze, for whatever reason, the Callous Daoboys were also popping up, but I listened to it and I was like, well, okay, I listened to their this shirt is just sitting on my lap. I'm putting it on the floor. I listened to their most recent album. Hold on. I will get you the name of the album. I Don't Want to See You in Heaven, which came out last year, May 16th of last year. So it's been out for over a year by now. But they are going on tour. They put out a single recently, April 2nd. Well, it's not that recent, but you know. Yeah. They're from Georgia. They're from, I want to say Atlanta. I might be making things up. Hold on. The Callous Daoboys. They are from Atlanta. And their name is a spoonerism of the football team, the Dallas Cowboys. And how long have they been around? Only since 2016, which I say only since 2016. That's like 10 years. That's still kind of a long time. Yeah. Their Wikipedia page is very small. Short. I don't know why I said small. You know what I mean. I tried to get into them. I mean, I didn't dislike it. It's just, it didn't really stick out to me. That being said, I will still be excited to see them. I feel like we're getting more and more, I feel like, bigger names coming to town, and that's a good thing, in my opinion. You know, because I feel like, again, it's going to be like what happened at that Throne show. I'm going to see so many people that I've never seen before at a show coming out specifically for this. And I have a plan. I've devised a plan. And this is not so much advertising for myself as it is advertising for the scene. But I feel like at this show, what I can do, and honestly, I could probably do that at that Color Revolt show too, if I'm being honest, is I'm going to print out just some little postcard size things and be like, hey, do you like going to shows? We have these more or less every weekend. Here's the calendar. Come to a local show. And that'll just really be it. You know, I feel like we as a scene could really benefit from that. You know, I feel like hold on, I'm trying to formulate a thought. I don't really think there's any such thing as, you know, a scene being too overpopulated. That's not the word that I'm thinking of. You know what I mean. I feel like for a city our size, we are kind of doing pretty great with the amount of shows that could put on a month or a week even. You know, I'm looking at the calendar now and it's just like, and I know I'm missing probably a couple on here, but it's like, yeah, literally every weekend this month there is a show, whether that be a Friday, a Saturday, a Sunday, or all three. You know, the first weekend, Friday and Saturday, that was 6 shows. That second weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because there's one going on today. Because I guess we are the second weekend. Yeah, sure. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3, because I forgot to put one on here. 3, 4, 5 shows in a weekend. Next weekend we got 1. There's probably more than 1. I feel like I'm missing one, but we got 1 Friday, 1 Saturday. Weekend after that, oh goodness, 1 Saturday, 2 on Sunday. The week after that, 1 on Saturday, or 1 on Friday. I don't have anything for Saturday the 4th, but also it's literally the 4th of July. I don't think, I don't think anybody's putting on a show on the 4th of July, so like that makes sense. But, you know, still, like we have stuff going on every weekend. Truly. More or less. There's been a couple weekends, and I do truly mean a couple, where there hasn't been something going on. We have shows going on every weekend. It might not be bigger names. It might be all local bands. Might be all Mississippi bands. Might be all regional bands. But either way, there is still a lot of talent here. And also, I wasn't going to bring it up earlier because I didn't think of it to bring it up. But now that I'm thinking of it, I am bringing it up. in talking to Burning Windsor, and of course, again, I did say I wanted to delay gratification, but whatever, I'm going to talk about this now. From how they were describing it and from seeing it on these DVDs that they gave me, and this isn't really meant to be taken personally by anyone, because again, I mean, it really isn't meant to be taken personally, but they put a lot into their stagecraft when it came to, their set list, to, the way that their lights, what am I talking about? The way, their lighting set up, whether or not they had like a fog machine, like stuff like that. Like, it really is like the little tiny details that make a difference. I have said this so many times before. Something as simple as miking up the drums makes such a big difference. And again, I know this is not something that is possible for every band or every venue, but when it is done, even in bands and venues that maybe don't usually do that, it still does make a difference. Something as small as that, just to, really set it off. Like, I'm not saying you need to have a projector set up with visuals going on in the background, or like a really complicated like lighting setup with like a person to, do the lights for you or anything like that. But, these aren't requirements. Really all you need is just your band to be there, but it does make a difference. It does really make a difference. And the local bands that are here might not be doing that, again, for one reason or another, and again, not meant to be taken personally, because it's an observation. It's not really anything other than that. But when you do have like a projector, like with some visuals, or I don't know, a fog machine, or like, some intention with your lighting, like even when Slow Hole came here, that was a couple freaking years ago. No, it wasn't. It was like last year. Hold on. When was Slow Hole here? Slow Hole. When were they here? Okay, that was last year. May 3rd of last year. Was that? Yes. Even when they came here, all they did was turn off all the lights and put on a red light, and it added to it though, because like, if you've listened to any of Slow Hole's music, like, yeah, it made sense, and it was really simple. It was just a light and a red light bulb, and that was it, but it made so much difference. It's really simple things like that you could do. And again, I mean, I don't really want to sound like I'm telling bands what to do, because I'm not, but all I'm saying is that it makes a difference. And our local bands that we have here may not have the stagecraft that, a big touring band might have, or a band with a lot more resources might have. All that to say is that even though we don't have that, we still have things going on every weekend, if not every weekend, then every other weekend. And I want people to know that. So when's like the next like big show? Because I need to plan ahead. I'm really bad at planning ahead. But I guess the next one would be that Color Revolt show. That's when that would be. So, I mean, that's in August. I got a couple months head start, but Lord knows, I tell myself that, and then all of a sudden it's the day before, and it's like, I gotta do something. But anyway, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I was gonna say, like, would the Color Revolt be like a big show? It sold out the same day, so like, yeah, I think that does mean something. But yeah, definitely for that one, and for the Callous Daoboys, I'm gonna be doing something like that. But anyways, to go back to them, I have not heard of Girl of Glass. I do know Weilded Steel is from Birmingham. They're like a hardcore band from Birmingham, Alabama. And honestly, I don't know if I've heard a single song from them, but the easiest way to win me over as a band is just to be from Alabama. That's it. If you're from Alabama, I'm already 50% of the way there. So, you know, what can I say? I'm loyal to my home state to a fault. So I will be interested to see them. And then, which I didn't even really look up Girl of Glass. Let me, Girl of Glass, musical band. Where are they from? Texas. Oh, they're deathcore. Yeah, they're from Tejas. Let me see. They might have some other. Usually the Bandcamp will tell you. We got metal deathcore MySpace. Oh, they're a MySpace deathcore band, specifically calling themselves a MySpace deathcore band, old school deathcore, and they're from Houston. I was gonna hit play, but again, I don't want it to play through my speakers, so we're gonna, yeah. We got MySpace deathcore from Tejas. And the other band that is on the bill, I had not heard of, Kaonashi, and I, looked them up, and on their Bandcamp, they had gent as a tag, and of course, me being the prog head that I am, I was like, well, let me have a listen, and so I listened to their most recent release, I Want to Go Home, which came out last June. And I don't know, it was really unique. I've never heard, well, okay, not that I've never heard anything like, it's their vocalist. And I really can't describe this any other way, but you really just gotta listen. Let me see, what would be I would say, on any of these songs, literally, you just gotta listen. Well, the ones that are longer than, 2 minutes. It's, I really don't know how to describe the stylings of their vocalists. I did say earlier in the episode that most unclean vocalists are indistinguishable to me. This one, I could pick this one out if I were 50% deaf in both of my ears. I've never heard anyone on a piece of music sound like that. And I'm not gonna lie, I am really excited to see them. I'm so excited. After I heard this, I'm like, I don't think I will ever see anything like this ever again. And it's like, I gotta see it. I really need to. I just don't know how to describe it. You really do just have to listen to it. Anything from I Want to Go Home. I don't know if, this carries over into their other releases, because I haven't listened to them. I just listened to their most recent. But yeah, it's, I don't know why they're in an emo right now playlist, or they were discovered on it, but yeah, I don't know. I really don't know how to describe it. I really don't. New Age Phil Tour 2021. Were they on that tour? Hold on. Well, I can't freaking see. I think so. Oh, they toured with Hail the Sun. That's interesting. I did not know that. I did not. Hold on. I can double check this. New Age Filth Tour. Blah, 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 blah. Let me find this here. Yep, that's them. Okay. Cool. Interesting indeed. So anyways, I will definitely be looking forward to this show. It's all the way in September, and this is a crazy way to think about it, but by the time the show happens, I'll be 27 years old. Also, my birthday's on a Wednesday this year, which is kind of lame. I don't think I'm going to be able to take off work for my birthday, which is what I like to do. I'm definitely not going anywhere because no PTO, and I'm not taking off because, again, no PTO. I'm just going to have to be sitting at a desk for my birthday, dude. That's crazy. The only time I've done that since I've been working was when I first started working, because it was literally, my birthday was exactly 1 month after I started working at my last job, and I had no PTO to be taken off. So I was just up there, freshly 22. Oh, that's also crazy to think about. Yeah, it's moved here when I was 21. I'm still here, about to be 27. That's interesting. I spent what some people would call their good years here in Jackson. I think my good years are yet to come. My 20s, I think your 20s are for being a little weird. Not being weird, but just having a weird time. There's a lot of adjustments, a lot of adjusting. Your 30s, I feel like things mellow out. And then once you hit 40, that's when you've reached your stride. And I personally feel like I will not have reached my stride until I'm 40. Not that I'm like a late bloomer or anything like that, which I don't think I was. Maybe I was. I don't really know. I don't really know what you would consider to be a late bloomer. I mean, late bloomer. Oh my god, not the series. What does it mean to be a late bloomer is a person whose talents or capabilities are not visible to others until later than usual. The term is used metaphorically to describe a child or adolescent who develops slower than others in their age group but eventually catches up and in some cases overtakes their peers, or an adult whose talent or genius in a particular field only appears later in life than is normal. Okay, but what is normal is the question, you know? I don't know, perhaps I reject the late bloomer yeah. Maybe I reject the label. Well, anyways, what was I even saying? I don't know. That show's coming up, the Callous Daoboys, and I'm excited for it. So I saw a trailer, which, did I even see the trailer? I mean, I did see the trailer. I'm trying to remember how I actually happened upon it. Like, how did I even find out that this was a thing that was happening? Either way, there is going to be a follow-up to The Social Network. I was going to say the Trent Reznor movie. It's not a Trent Reznor movie. He did the music with him, and Atticus Ross did the music for The Social Network, which is great. I love the music for The Social Network, especially the main theme. Like, that's like iconic, you know? And after I watched it, like, actually in full intentionally for the first time a few years ago, I was wondering, like, okay, you know, they made this, and the point of The Social Network, it's not really about the start of Facebook. It's about that, you know, whatever lawsuit early on that happened with the Winklevoss twins and Mark Zuckerberg, I think, because it's based on a book that's based on a deposition. So that's where that comes from. And I guess in doing that, it does tell the story of early Facebook. But even in 2010, which I feel like in 2010, which is when that movie came out, you know, everyone and their mom was on Facebook. Which, was it 2010 or was it, hold on, The Social Network. That was 2010, which is crazy to think about, because I feel like in 2010, Facebook was just starting to be like a household name. And now it's like, I don't know, you know, it's caused the downfall of like maybe one country, maybe more than one. Yeah, that came out in 2010. That's kind of crazy. Anyways, what was I saying? There's a follow-up to this coming out called The Social Reckoning. It is not being directed by David Fincher, who is what I meant to say. And also, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross are not doing the music for this new one, so it's like, okay. But Aaron Sorkin, who wrote the screenplay for The Social Network, is directing The Social Reckoning. I would have liked to see it with Fincher stylings, but maybe it'll be fine. Also, that got me to thinking, like, what the heck has David Fincher even been up to in the past few years? Because last thing I saw from him was, like, Mank. Um, but he's got something coming out soonish. What was that? Hold on, filmography. He's okay, this was so he he's directing The Adventures of Cliff Booth, which I guess is the, what do you call it? Precursor movie to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I did see in theaters when it came out. So it's like, and it's coming out this year, but it's being directed by David Fincher, but it's written by Quentin Tarantino, and Reznor and Ross are doing the music. I'm really interested to see what this looks like, because I feel like this is a really interesting collection of talents. Yeah. I really gotta know. But also, it's coming out on Netflix, but it's being released. So I'm looking at the Wikipedia. It's saying it's being released exclusively in IMAX. November 2026. November 25th, 2026. So, like, is it, I mean, it says exclusively in IMAX. So it's none of the smaller screens are going to have it? I guess not. Which also leads me to believe this is going to be like a pretty limited release. So I don't even think it's coming to the IMAX here in Mississippi. So I will just have to watch it on Netflix, I guess, which I've been contemplating canceling my Netflix because I legit have not been using it, like, at all. I have not even logged in. Yeah, so anyways, so talking about The Social Reckoning. It stars not Jesse Eisenberg, reprising his role as Mark Zuckerberg, but Jeremy Strong, which I saw the first couple of seasons of Succession, and, like, he's great in it, and I forget the name of his character. Hold on. Jeremy Strong. What is his character's name? Why can't I find it? Kendall Roy. And, there's that interview that came out with, what's his name? Brian Cox, who's Logan Roy, who was, like, just saying that, this guy's, like, a complete weirdo on set because he's trying to do the whole method acting thing, which, I've heard other people say this, and I've thought about it, and I was like, you might be onto something. You never see women method acting. It's just men. What's that all about? I don't know. I feel like I sound like Tucker Carlson there, but, why don't you see women method acting? I don't know. But yeah, there was, he kind of just is Kendall Roy. He just is like that, which, by the way, I mean, I loved, Succession, even though I don't think I didn't finish the last season. I don't think I watched the last season, like, at all. But, obviously everyone in that show is deeply unlikable, but you just love to hate his character. You love to hate all of them, but you especially love to hate Kendall Roy. Every time something bad happens to him, I cheered, because, like, everyone, but especially him, is just terrible. Like, what's his name? The other brother? I feel like every single name is evaporating from my head, because I don't know. But the other Culkin brother who plays the other brother in this show, who is on this, Kieran Culkin, I feel like you could kind of like his character because he's, like, funny. But, like, everybody else, everyone is terrible. Everyone. I just hate everyone. Especially Greg, played by Nicholas Braun. Just the aloofness it just made me mad, Anywho, I like Succession. That was a good show. Also, The Bear is coming back for its last season, and I don't know, I think once they got the restaurant, once they got The Bear, I feel like The Bear was less interesting. Like, the first season of The Bear was great. The second was kind of just okay, if I may. It did fuel my love for the city of Chicago, but anything after the second season was just kind of okay. I'm not even gonna lie. It's just kind of whatever. Or after the first season, rather. Like, once they actually started the restaurant, I was like, oh, okay. It's honestly kind of like having a will they won't they romance, and then they get together, but then it continues past that, and it's like, okay, well, what's the point, you know? Anywho, I will be interested to see this follow-up to The Social Network, another kind of crazy movie that's coming out, which honestly, I feel like Robert Pattinson just says yes to whatever project he gets, and that's kind of great. He, for whatever reason, is playing, again, all the names are evaporating from my head. What's that man's name? Chris Hansen. He's playing freaking Chris Hansen. Doesn't look or sound anything like him, which, something I forgot to say is that, again, with the method acting, Jeremy Strong sounds way too much like Mark Zuckerberg, and it's kind of weird, and it's kind of freaking me out. Like, I didn't like it. Yeah. Because, like, Jesse Eisenberg, he was kind of, kind of awkward, but also kind of full of himself, which, Mark Zuckerberg kind of is. But there's something, I don't know. It's just like, Mark Zuckerberg is one of those people who kind of has nothing behind the eyes. And if you look at this picture of Jeremy Strong in this, like, mint green suit, presumably at the Oscars, it also looks like he has nothing behind the eyes. So, like, it works. But, like, I don't know. How long did Jeremy Strong spend with Mark Zuckerberg to get all of his mannerisms down, or did he? I don't know. Anyway, something I forgot to mention is that the new movie is about the other big scandal. Not the other big the one big scandal, because Jesus Christ, hold on. I'm just gonna look it up. The Social Reckoning. Oh, it's crazy. It's not even that late. It's only 8:25, and everything is just evaporating out of my mind. Also, Bill Burr is in this movie. Okay, and Jeremy Allen White. Two Jeremys. Jeremy versus Jeremy. In this movie, it's It's about, hold on, what is it? Hold on. It was a document leak. Hold on. Oh, okay, this is not what I thought it was about. Oh, this isn't what I thought it was about at all. Okay, I did watch the trailer, but this is about the leaked document saying that, Facebook, or I guess maybe Instagram, but Instagram and Facebook is, like, actively harmful to young people, and they just, like, didn't care about it. Okay, this is not about the other thing. Huh. I thought this is about Cambridge Analytical. That's what I thought this was about. Documents unknown provenance. Revelations included reporting of special allowances on posts from high-profile users, subdued response to flag information on human trafficking, shareholder lawsuit, personal liability. Huh. It showed it was aware of harmful societal effects from its platforms, yet it persisted in prioritizing in profit over addressing these harms. I swear I thought this was about Cambridge Analytica. What's Cambridge Analytica about then? Hold on. Personal data belonging to millions of Facebook users was collected by a British consulting firm for political advertising without informed consent. I thought that was going to be about Cambridge Analytica. It's not. Which I would say, that was still pretty bad. But the other one is probably a little bit worse. Worse in a different way. Yeah. And that, my friends, is why, I don't know if you've been noticing it, but I certainly have been. There's been, how back in the day they used to have, if you were a loved one, have been diagnosed with mesothelioma, you may be entitled to financial compensation. That was just like a bunch of, I guess, I don't know, class action lawsuits about people working with and handling asbestos and then later getting diagnosed with mesothelioma, which is like a lung cancer question mark, that comes specifically from asbestos because, it's just a bunch of needles going into your lungs and making tumors, in my from what I understand of it. But now there's like a bunch of, hey, have you or a loved one joined Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or something else when you were under the age of 13? You may be entitled to financial compensation. And it's like, yeah, I have. But, well, okay, to be fair, it's not just that. It's also, did you suffer mental health implications from it? And I don't know if, well, if I were to be owed some money, if I were to be owed some money from any platform, it would be Reddit. Because some of the stuff that I saw on Reddit.com when I was 13 years old, kind of crazy. Number one, so much porn. Why is there so much porn on that website? It really was a Wild West back then. Number two, like a lot of like actual gore. There was so many websites with, not websites, subreddits with like, pictures of dead women, watch people die, what is it, cute dead girls or something like that. There are a lot. I never went to those, but I did end up seeing the pictures that a woman took of Chris Farley immediately after his death. They weren't on Reddit, but somebody linked to them. And I was 13 when I saw that, and that was pretty crazy, and I wish I didn't see that. And also just a lot of harmful ideals. I feel like it's taking me a while to unlearn some of the stuff that I internalized from spending probably too much time on Reddit.com. Now, could it have been worse? Could I have been on 4chan instead? Yes. I was not. Thank God. But that doesn't change the fact that I probably shouldn't have been doing that. And people like to reminisce like, I remember when I had unmonitored internet access when I was a kid, and it's like, yeah, you guys were going on rotten.com. You guys were going on LiveLeak. Like, you want children to look at that? You want them to be subjected to the same things that you were? I don't think so. You guys were watching cartel beheading videos and being like, the Wild West days, wasn't that something? And like, yeah, it was something. It was traumatizing. And, I think it is good that there are some guards in place to make sure that children don't experience that. But also, kids are getting groomed on Roblox, so things kind of haven't really changed all that much, if we're being honest. You can't see gore on the first page of Google. You won't find a link to it on the first page of Google, but, the children are getting groomed on Roblox. Just like the children back then were getting groomed on Habbo Hotel. So it's like, have things changed? Not really. Not really. So, anyway, it'll be interesting to see that movie. I really don't know. And the Chris Hansen one is an A24 movie, and like, did NBC sign off on this? I would be really interested to know. Which, hold on, I can look it up. Chris Hansen movie. I know it's not the Chris Hansen. It's called Primetime, and it's an upcoming historical crime thriller following the origins of the television news program To Catch a Predator, which features host Chris Hansen confronting adult men who arrive at a sting house to have sex with minors and typically get arrested as an adult, or as a result. But, is this about a particular case, or what? Phoebe Bridgers is in this movie? Interesting. Robert Pattinson is Chris Hansen. Merritt Weaver, don't know who that is. Skylar Grisondo. He was in Licorice Pizza and Booksmart and Vacation. Merritt Weaver was in Nurse Jackie. Was she Nurse Jackie? I don't think she was Nurse Jackie. I don't think so. Godless and Unbelievable. Bokeem Woodbine. Phoebe Bridgers for some reason. Sean Bridgers? Any relation? Hold on. No. Maybe. Perhaps. I don't think so. They just got the same last name. Anna Faris is in this movie. Interesting. And Jonathan Lipnicki? Interesting. When is this coming out? September 2026. And then of course, Odyssey is coming out soon. That's in July 20, not 27th, it's 17th. I'm like 90% sure. Yeah, that would make sense because that's a Friday. And I will be seated for that. I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's not historically accurate. I don't care. It's a Christopher Nolan film. I really liked Oppenheimer. Can he follow up Oppenheimer? Maybe. I don't know. I was thinking back on his filmography. And honestly, aside from like Tenet, which was fine, but it just kind of, I don't know, maybe missed the mark for me. It was also really long, which so was Oppenheimer, but still, I feel like Tenet was like inordinately long. Like, why? What was it so long for? I don't know. Tenet missed the mark for me, but I feel like his other movies were like, yeah, I was on board for. So he's allowed one flop as a treat, which was it even really a flop? I don't know. But yes, I will be seated for Odyssey. I'm definitely looking forward to that. You got big ocean scenes. Like, yeah, I'm here for it. There's a new Jackass movie coming out. The last one, apparently. And I will say, I saw the last one in theaters, and it was primarily cock and ball torture. And, like, I've seen the other Jackass movies, and they weren't like that. I feel like there's a lot less CBT involved in the other Jackass movies versus the previous one that came out, like 3 years ago, something like that. And also, apparently, and I don't know how this happened, but apparently Bam Margera is in this one. I guess because it is the last one. I'll definitely be interested to see how that goes. Because I think Bam Margera was in like a couple of the stunts from the last one, but eventually he just he Bam Margera. That's really all I gotta say. So yeah, but it'll be interesting to see this next one and whether or not it is just more cock and ball torture. Hey, if you've seen the last Jackass movie, you can concur. It was a lot of that. So, yeah. Anyways, I say all this because I went to the theater yesterday to see a movie, and those were, which by the way, it was such a weird collection of trailers because I went to see Backrooms yesterday, and we'll get to it, but I feel like the trailers range from like other horror movies because there was a trailer for the, I guess, forthcoming Resident Evil movie, but there is also a trailer for the Minions movie, and like this is a rated R movie, and I guess, hey, if you're here watching a rated R movie, maybe you would want to take your kids to see the new Minions, but I feel like when you play a trailer before a movie, they're usually within the same realm. Like, you're not seeing rom-com trailers before Hereditary. There was an action trailer, and I can't even remember the name of it because it was so generic and boring. I did not commit it to memory. But it was, I don't know, it was an interesting collection of trailers. Also, something that I noticed, it's been maybe a couple weeks since Backrooms has been out, but, I went on a Saturday at the 6 o'clock showing, and there were kind of a lot of people there. And I was like, are theaters back? Are people back in the theater? Because I feel like the last couple of times that I've been to see a movie, I've been like the only person in my row. And okay, sometimes I will go on the middle of a day on a Saturday, but still, Are people back in the theater? There are people on both sides of me. And I was like, this hasn't happened in so long. There's so many people. But anyways, I suppose that's a good thing, right? We want people back in the theater. I want to be back in the theater. It's just there hasn't really been much that I've wanted to see in the theater, but that's about to change. Because, like I said, there's all these movies coming out. And I mean, there have been some that the only thing about it is that some of the movies that I want to see, they'll be in the theaters here for literally a week. That happened with The Moment, the Charlie XCX movie. It was here for maybe a week. And that was it. That was all you got. And it was gone the next week. And it's like, well, shoot. You know, maybe I have things going on. I don't want to go see a movie after work because I am going to fall asleep. Because I've done that far too many times. You know, gone to see a movie after work and promptly fallen asleep. So it's like, that's so lame. I really wish we got more. I mean, we have gotten some stuff, but I just wish we had one really good, like, art housey theater. And, you know, it could have been the Capri. But no, that's the family-friendly kiddie theater, you know. So, I mean, the only theater around here that really shows, I mean, the ones that I can find in the metro that shows, like, even slightly art housey movies would be Malco, which is, you know, it's good that it's there, but I don't know, we really do need, like, an art housey theater. Should I be the change I want to see? I don't know what the overhead is on a movie theater, so, you know, I don't know if that's a leap that I'm willing to take. I'm not willing to take it. But anywho, I went to see Backrooms. Uno momento, I must sip. And I'm not gonna lie, when that movie was what? I was trying to say initially and originally at the same time. That wasn't gonna work. When Backrooms was originally announced, I was really skeptical about it. Like, I didn't know if it was gonna be good because, you know, it's a piece of internet media, and I feel like, you know, kind of with video game adaptations, they just miss the mark a lot of the times because the people that are involved in making them are removed from the communities that consume that kind of stuff, you know. But Backrooms was set apart because the person who made it was, number one, very young. I think, how old is Kane Parsons? He's 20. He was born in the big 05. So, you know. And he also made the Backrooms, I guess it was a series on YouTube, which, let me see. How many, because I thought at first it was just, like, a short film, but I have seen this. Like, I have seen this before. And also, he made that in 2022. That was, what, 4 years ago? If he's 20, he made that when he was 16, which is honestly kind of impressive. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna hold you. Like, it is kind of easy to engage in hateration and holleration in this dancery when it comes to young people doing things for some reason. But no, I mean, yeah. But also that, I mean, I would need to read up more on it, probably. I don't think this was live action. It might have been, I don't know. I really don't know. Development was made in After Effects and Blender. Okay. That's interesting. What was I saying? I can't remember. Anyways, I think considering that, you know, the person who made this movie was the person who made the series / the original short film, and was also, you know, in that online culture at that time, that is why it does work. Because I there are ways that a Backrooms movie in the wrong hands could just like not work. Like there are so many ways that this could have just been made into the most hokey garbage imaginable if it weren't for Kane Parsons. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like this could have been doo doo garbage, pee pee poo poo caca doo doo. But it was done so well. And the really interesting thing about it, and one of my friends made this point, so I can't claim it, but the Backrooms movie is way more atmosphere driven than character driven or plot driven. Like, there is plot in that, there is an inciting incident, there is a 3-act structure. The guy, he finds the back rooms in the basement of this furniture store and goes through it and then starts exploring it and then kind of goes crazy, which, by the way, light spoilers for Backrooms. I'll say that. Light spoilers for Backrooms. And this will probably be the last thing I talk about. So if this video goes on, or the episode goes on for like a lot longer, then maybe it's not the last thing that I talk about. But anyways, light spoilers for Backrooms. I do want you to watch this movie. You watching or listening, which, by the way, if you're only listening to the audio only version, you're only getting half the story. But either way, I do implore everyone to watch this movie because it is so good. It is really just so good. And it's not that long when I think about it. Oh, I didn't even, hold on. Backrooms, the movie. It's an hour and 51 minutes. And dare I say, it could have been longer. It could have been longer. I'm not even gonna lie. It was almost 2 hours, but it could have been longer. And I don't really say that about movies. Usually if I'm met with a movie, I'm thinking it could have been a little bit shorter. I think this could have been longer. I'm not even gonna lie. Cause we got a taste of the Backrooms, but I feel like we could have gotten a little bit more. I don't know. I just wanted more. And I mean, there are a number of Backrooms walking simulators out there for you to play if you're into that. But yeah, I don't know. I just loved it real bad. And yeah, I was kind of casually into the original copy pasta, not a whole lot. I mean, it kind of blends liminal spaces and SCP, which is secure, contain, protect, which if you're familiar with that whole family of, I don't know, collaborative storytelling, then you know what I'm talking about. It blends that in a way that works really good, I think. Liminal spaces is something that gets talked about a lot, and SCP has been around for quite some time. Even though Backrooms isn't technically an SCP, I feel like it would fit right in with that universe, considering, there's like entities and it's a maze, and it's actively being studied by what would have been the SCP Foundation, but is async in the movie. And it's like, yeah, if you're into liminal spaces, if you're into SCP, if you're into creepypastas, I mean, if you're into the Backrooms, if you're into all of that, you're probably into the Backrooms anyways, but this is the movie for you. If you're into internet media, this really is the movie for you. And I did really like, maybe not the explanation, because there wasn't really an explanation. Like, once they, again, spoilers, once they get Clark's therapist and, like, I guess kind of rescue her from the Backrooms, they're, like, still trying to figure things out about it. And so, what it was kind of, maybe not exactly explained, but alluded to in the movie is that, it is a vessel of memories. And when you remember something and re-remember something and re-remember something, like that one episode of BoJack, it's a Xerox of a Xerox of a Xerox, it starts becoming different, and that's what the Backrooms are. It's a memory, because the thing that made the Backrooms so compelling is that, the original image, it looked like just an empty department store. But the thing about it is, how often are you seeing empty department stores, unless you're just exploring abandoned malls. But even then, it's kind of eerie because, the whole thing with why liminal spaces work in your mind the way that they do is you see something that's familiar, but there's still something missing. You have the really harsh yellow fluorescent lights and the really gross yellow wallpaper and the nasty yellow carpet. Everything is yellow. Everything is yellow. And also with my glasses, which are slightly yellow tinted, it really added to the ambiance. Because my glasses are kind of blue light filtering, which whether or not that actually does something, jury is still out. But it does make screens easier on my eyes, so maybe it is doing something. I don't know. Anyways, you have all of that from, department stores of yesteryear, but there's like nothing in there. It's just like completely empty. And it's like a memory, like you remember being in a department store in a mall with like the worst lighting imaginable and the worst wallpaper imaginable and the worst carpeting imaginable. But it looks different. It's different. But still familiar. But it's empty and it's vast. And that is why it works the way that it works. And I will say, even though this was a horror movie, I wasn't that scared. I was honestly cheesing the whole time they were back there. And there was a part where Clark is explaining to the other two people that work in the store, he's like, yeah, there's even pools. Both me and the person sitting next to me were like, the pool rooms, because the pool rooms is kind of a spin-off, sort of the Backrooms, where it's like a lot of, these weird liminal spaces that are pools. And so if we go on the Backrooms, there's a Backrooms wiki. Well, that doesn't really surprise me. I guess there would be a lot of different types of Backrooms. You got the pool rooms, and you have, I don't know, that looks like a parking garage, something like that. Anyways, it's just a bunch of different pools. And I think there is, an origin of the pool rooms. I don't know, it's one of the many kind of liminal backroom settings that exists, and there is a game. There are a number of Backrooms games, there are a number of pool rooms games, but I think it's called Pools. Yeah. And it's a game, a walking simulator where you explore the pool rooms, and it's really great. I watched a playthrough of it while I was doing my hair, and I was like, man, I love the atmosphere. And unfortunately there's only like a spoonful of pool rooms in the Backrooms movie, so it's like, oh, I kind of wanted to see more, because I mean, in the Pools game, and again, this is all, I don't think there is any like official Backrooms lore, because again, all of this is like community created, so there's really nothing official about it. But in the Pools game, we have the pool rooms, we have like a bunch of other different rooms, including a section of Backrooms. So yeah, I just feel like the Backrooms is such a cool concept, such a cool thing that the internet made. It did originate on 4chan, and I was just talking about how it's a good thing that I did not spend a lot of my time as a child on 4chan, but I think I can say that 4chan gave us one good thing, and that is the Backrooms, and that is it. That is all. That is it. It's the Backrooms and nothing else. Anything else that's come from 4chan has been bad, terrible, not good. Anywho, there is an origin of the picture, by the way. It was taken in 2002 of let me see, Home Furnishings. So it was a furniture store. The original, like the actual picture, was a furniture store that was being renovated. So that's really interesting. Mm. But again, it's just like really liminal. And, you know, I have this picture that I took, the Walmart that I went to. It wasn't being remodeled. I think it was just being reorganized, but I took a picture of it and it was like really liminal looking. And I cannot tell you when I took that picture. It was a while ago. And I want to see if I can find it. But there might not be any. Hold on, I think it was when it was cold. Doesn't really tell me anything. But it might have been like last December or something like that. I really want to find liminal Walmart. Gosh. Wait, I found it. Okay. Here it is. My liminal Walmart, because it's just big and empty. You know, it's kind of like the original liminal space picture, which, by the way, me holding this up to the camera, it's so janky. I could just edit it in. I'm not gonna do that. But like usually you're in a Walmart and it's like a bunch of stuff, but here it's just like it was a lot of empty space and it was so eerie. That's my one liminal picture, you know. So yeah, I am really fascinated by like liminal spaces and stuff like that because I don't know, I just find things that are slightly unsettling really cool. And it, you know, Backrooms the movie, it was a horror movie. Was I scared? Not really. Not really. Again, I was cheesing through most of it because the atmosphere is just so top tier and it was just. And also the fun thing about it is that the sets, those are like, they built those. So like there exists somewhere out there, the back rooms, you know, and on a back lot, which I don't know, I think they might have taken them down already, but I mean, I would have imagined that they would have taken them down, you know, but somewhere for a moment in time, the back rooms, the sets, they were there and they are existing. Cause man, it's really just so cool. Like with all the stacks of furniture and like things clipping through the floors. Man, again, the atmosphere. Also, something that I noticed, little insight into film. It looked like most of this was shot with wide angle lenses. Like you can kind of tell when you get close up on a character where their ears look like they're, you know, pinned to their head, I guess, but it's 30,000 square feet of back rooms. Man, to be inside the back, to be a PA on this set, just wandering the back rooms, that would be, yeah. Yep. Well, the teaser for Backrooms was created entirely in Blender, with the exception of the final shot, which the teaser does actually show up in the movie where you're going through the floors, which is why I was kind of skeptical of it when I saw that teaser, because I was like, I don't know what they're planning here, but yeah, just a big backlot, not a big backlot, but you know what I mean, what do you call it? Fine, I'll call it a backlot. Big backlot. Whole lot of fluorescent panels. A lot of drop ceilings. Terrible carpet. Awful, you know, wallpaper. And it's just the atmosphere is really top tier. Honestly, I want to see it again. But again, I'm going to implore everyone to watch the Backrooms movie because it is really good. And I really liked it. So, yeah, that'll do it for me for today. This has been the 73rd episode of the Runnin My Mouth podcast. I've been your host, Aaron. Thank you for allowing me to run my mouth. So Lord knows I did it a lot today, and also on all other days that I record this podcast, because that's kind of the point. Anywho, follow me on Instagram. Because if you're not following me on Instagram, you're only getting half the story. use my code JX10 to get 10% off on eargasm.com. Invest in your ears. What are you searching for? You might be able to find it. Scan my QR code to submit to my zine seeking. And yeah, that's it. I cooked. I made some delicious food. I sort of cleaned. I have not folded my laundry, and I need to do that. But once I do that, all of my tasks for the day will have been done, and I will be very proud of myself. So yeah, I really hope my upstairs neighbor dropped something, and that was just it. Because I'm not gonna lie, that did scare the crap out of me. But it was also low-key kind of funny. Anyways, I have to go.